Om Sri Sai Ram. Sai Prem De, Shanti De, Anand De, Baba Prem De. तुम हो बाबा दया के सागर, तुम हो गुण मंदिर नटनागर। साई प्रेम दे, शांति दे, आनंद दे, बाबा प्रेम दे। ओम श्री साई राम। I read in one of the books by K.M. Munshi, the founder, president of Bharati Vidya Bhavan. He was a great devotee of Swami, a great scholar, man of great knowledge, wisdom, especially of Indian culture and philosophy. Great noble soul. I read somewhere many years back in one of his books. I can't recollect which book, maybe Mahabharata, probably, or Bhagavatam. I remember even the page, the last sentence was written there. God alone can do adharma. I repeat, God alone can do adharma. That time I was just maybe 2021. Those days I used to read all possible books to enlighten myself on the laws of spirituality and divinity. I could not understand this meaning. I thought it's a printing mistake. God alone can do adharma. Now I understand. No one else can do without facing the consequences thereof. If any of us does any wrong, any adharma, dharma is conduct, code of conduct. If any of us goes outside the code of conduct, crosses the Lakshman Rekha as we call it, he or she has to face the consequences thereof. Krishna has very clearly said, you have to face the consequences of your thought, words, actions, and even reactions, or even inactions. Nobody can escape that. That is a game. We should not, we are taking, Swami says, don't take anything seriously in your life. Everything is a passing cloud. Take God alone seriously in your life. God alone can do a dharma means He is that authority, that power, that cosmic entity. Whatever He does becomes a dharma. Our minds are so limited, so narrow, so programmed in such way by especially our modern education, so called, that we cannot comprehend beyond our physical plane. There are many things happening all the time beyond our comprehension, even inside our own bodies. None of us, for example, does any effort to keep our heart beating. A child is born with a heart that is beating, the lungs that are functioning, the kidneys, the pancreas, the intestines, digestive system, the brain, the heart, everything is functioning in a newborn child. What effort the newborn child has put in that? Or what effort his or her mother has put in that? Nothing. There is higher power, higher laws of nature. Just because we cannot understand, we cannot deny them. It is not scientific, it is foolish. When Swami says your cancer is cancelled, and there are many instances when he taps a person on the wheelchair and he gets up, there are many instances where he has even brought back the dead back to life. There are many instances where he has transported the things right from the ocean, depth of the ocean. Many instances. He has saved many lives across the world. Many instances. Right from Himalayas to America to Argentina. Physically appearing. Swami taking form of, there's many instances Swami has, even many students have narrated, and we know in Satyam Shivam Sundaram, the great poetess, she was called in Prashant Nilayam for Swami's birthday. At the same time, she was invited to perform in the parliament for a great function by the government of India in the 70s. She refused to go there because there was a call from Swami. But she received the check from the government that we all were very happy to um, enjoy your great performance, though you had not asked for it, but this is our duty. We are offering this as token of our gratitude. They sent a check on her name. She refused to accept. She said, I never came. They said, Madam, this is published in all the newspapers. You came and you performed, and it was unique performance, excellence. But she was in Prashanti Nilayam that point in time, performing in front of God. Many instances, not one. Do we say that Swami is breaking the laws of the nature? No. He is going beyond the laws of nature which we understand. And those laws which he operates in, they are beyond our comprehension. That is why he is God. He is not a saint. He is not some with magical powers or siddhis, as they call it. Swami declared that Ramakrishna Paramahansa, people quote Ramakrishna Paramahansa, that no siddha should exhibit his siddhis in public because he will lose the spiritual effulgence, the spiritual achievements. Swami told, Kasturiji was translating in the 70s, I remember, I was sitting there. He said, that is for siddha sadhakas. I am the source of all siddhis. I am the end of all siddhis. Ramakrishna was also talking about the siddhas, the sadhakas, the saints. They should not exhibit. It is true. But you can't apply the same law to the Lord. His very creation is manifestation of his powers. I am one, let me become many. One thought. What science can prove in that? Which science can justify or analyze this statement? We are too childish. We overestimate our, as I repeat again and again, we overestimate our little knowledge, our little wisdoms, our little degrees, our little minds, our little authorities. We always overestimate them. So much so that it directly goes to our head. And then we start behaving as if we are all in all. As I mentioned in the story, that when a villager was given the role of king, he was very poor villager. He was in torn clothes, but he was offered that role because the real performer had failed to come. So he was given that opportunity, and he was given all the dress and all the decoration, makeup, everything of a great king. And he was made to sit on the chair of the king for one part, one scene. And then he was asked to go to the green room and wait for his next performance, next scene. But what he found when he was sitting on the chair, even the person who was playing the minister and the soldier, they were his village big people. He thought just because of this my dress, these people who don't even allow me to go near them, they were saluting me, O king, again and again. So this dress I am not going to give off. And my wife would be very happy to see me in this dress. The money which I am going to get after the drama is over is nothing in front of the dress that has been given to me. So he just slips in the darkness and just comes running on the main road, and he stops the bus and he sits in the bus in the dress of that king, and with that arrogance of the king is still hankering on his mind. Like after this overdose, we know the hanging effect, hang on effect till morning. He came and sat there and he was sitting like a king in the bus. So the conductor came, hey, ticket. He said, hey, how dare you? I am the king. He gave him a tight slap. Get lost. This is what happens to us. Unless we get that tight slap, we think that we are still the king just because wearing the dress of the king, just because we had opportunity to sit on the chair of the authority of the king for some time. That hangover period is still in our minds. We are carried away. We are so weak emotionally, spiritually, and we think that we are great. Yes, we are great. Once we realize and accept that we are Divyatma Swaruplara, we are Premahatma Swaruplaras, we are his princes and princesses. Of course, that identity will give us the real powers and authority. But along with that power, it will give us responsibility of behaving as prince, as the princess, with the dignity of that prince and the princess. We cannot act cheap, undignified manner. That is why Swami said, be human, behave human. I have given you this body, this dress of human. So you have to behave as human. So simple. Whatever else you may claim to be or not claim to be, none of us can deny that we all are humans. And human without human qualities is unacceptable. And the first and foremost essential quality of a human being is love. Love in thought, love in feelings, love in action, love in reaction, love in words. Love in words, Swami says, is Satya. Love in thoughts is Ahimsa. Love in feeling is Shanti. Love in action is righteousness, Dharma. Love is the undercurrent of all our thought, words, feelings, actions, and reactions. And we want to underestimate that power of love. We pray to the Lord of love. We claim to be devotees of the Lord who is embodiment of love and truth. And we spread hatred and falsehood. How dare we? We are acting against divinity when we are spreading hatred, falsehood, revenge. Cowards will go for revenge. The courageous will fight it out. As Swami told the group of industrialists in Indulal Shah's books, it is mentioned that when you drink alone in your house with your family, You are at the most indulging in something which is not desirable, but yet you are limiting it to your own four walls of your house. But when you give parties, you invite people, you invite gents, ladies, and do all the things which are done in big parties, then you are spreading the negativity everywhere. That is not acceptable. And if you think that gives you the leverage for promoting your business, be with it. But don't say that your business is prospering because of grace of God. Don't claim, don't have false claims. Be bold enough to say, I am what I am because I indulge in all these things. Don't say no, it is grace of God. Don't go to temples and offer that money to God. You can't bribe God on that. And if you truly believe that you are surviving and thriving by the grace of God, then Swami said you should not indulge into all these negative activities. Be straight. Fight from the front, not from the back. Revenge is fighting from the back. Cowards do that. That is why Arjuna kept Krishna in the front. Keep the Lord in the front and come. And when we rather, all of us, keep the Lord in the front as our charioteer, He will guide us, direct us. And when He directs, He protects. Why Krishna chose to be charioteer? So that he could sit in the front. He created a situation because Dharmaja did the mistake of not keeping Krishna in the front. And he lost his game, he lost his kingdom, he lost his brothers, he lost his wife. Because he thought that he can play the game. It is his game. Yes, Arjuna had to. Krishna said, I will not take the weapons. Perform, you have to. Arjuna has to perform. But the direction must come from Krishna. Krishna can't be the charioteer. Arjuna cannot be the charioteer. No lesser authority can be trusted on that. We can't trust anybody else. Duryodhana trusted his commanders, Bhisham Pitama, then Dronacharya, then Kripacharya, then Karna. Arjuna trusted only one, Krishna. Krishna without weapons. All these commanders were excellent warriors. They all had weapons and mantras, everything in their control, in their hands. Yet they lost. Because Duryodhana chose Krishna Sena, not the Krishna. Arjuna chose the Krishna. And Arjuna cannot say, Lord, okay, I have chosen you, but at least give me some of your soldiers, some of your weapons, because it is a war after all, and you are not going to take weapons as you have announced. In the war, we need weapons, we need soldiers. Yes, you are my first choice, but that is not enough. The moment you think that God is not enough, you lose him. If you give second place to God, you give him no place. Be sure. Anybody thinks that having God's grace is not enough. Like Arjuna telling Krishna that, okay, Lord, you are agreeing to be with me and I have chosen you to be my charioteer out of my very sweet, free, volunteer will. I have chosen you to be with me over and above your entire Sena, entire your army. But at least you should give me, or you take some weapons or some soldiers. No ways. Krishna empty handed is enough. That thought will win you, make the game. Krishna will then win the game for you. That surrender is required, that understanding is required, that awareness is required, that having Krishna is enough. Who cares even if you lose it? At least you are with Krishna. Krishna says, you fight it out, you may lose it also, but you should not run away and then go on taking revenge. Because if you run away, the revenge will remain with Draupadi's mind, with your mind, your brother's mind. All the time you will go on planning. You will not be peaceful. You have tried that. So fight it out. Don't go for the other poisonous way of revenge and all that. Fight it out. I am with you. At least Sai devotees, all of us, we must not and dare not even entertain for one moment a thought of hatred or revenge or fear in our minds. Because that moment we are working directly against our God. Our God is love. Love is fearlessness. Fear is lovelessness. Love is hatelessness. Hate is lovelessness. Common sense. Even if we have to fight and kill somebody, first love him, then kill him. Swami has given a very beautiful poem to me. Wonderful poem. Love me before you kill me. This story of a soldier who has become prisoner of war, and he says to his so-called enemies, love me before you kill me. I am not afraid of dying, but my only request is love me before you kill me. Rama never hated Ravana, but Ravana killed Ravana, of course. Ravana did not say, okay, you take my mother Sita, no problem, it is one and same thing. My wife being with you is no issue, big issue. We all are one, be alike to everyone. That's stupidity. But he loved him till last. Love and continue to love. Even when he was dying, he told Lakshmana, go and learn from him. Sit at his feet, not on his head. That is the reverence. We all must learn to respect divinity. The moment it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Jiva Namaskar, Krishna Gachate, something in Sanskrit, I don't know correct pronunciation. The meaning is that when we do Namaskar in our Bharatiya culture, we do Namaskar, we don't shake hands. So this Namaskar, Swami says, goes to Krishna. But Swami says, if Namaskar goes to Krishna, then your Tiraskar for any person also goes to Krishna. You want to deposit your Namaskar with your Lord, with your God, or you want to offer your Tiraskar to your Lord. Choice is yours. Because your Lord, if you claim that your Lord is omnipresent, He is the Supreme. Every religious fanatic claims that his Lord is the Supreme. I told one Christian missionary in the train I mentioned somewhere that I said, okay, your Christ is the Supreme. Agreed. He will liberate everybody. Agreed. So then what is the problem? Tell your Christ that every soul should be born only in Christian family because we are Hindus or Muslim or Christians or Sikh because of our birth. So tell your Christ that all the population should be finished and he should start the new game with everybody being born only in Christian family. So all become Christian. Why you want to waste your time, money, energy for conversion of other religious people into your fold? If you truly believe that your Lord is supreme, everybody does, then your Tiraskar also goes to him because he is residing and operating through all. If he is omnipresent, if your Lord is omnipresent, then he is residing and operating through all, even through your enemies. So, first love him, offer your reverence to him. Then, as a role play, if you need to be killed, kill him. That is what Arjuna did. He offered pranams to his Bhishma Pitamaha, to Dronacharya, to Kurupacharya. Duryodhan thought that he is surrendering by offering pranams. No, he was a soldier, but he knew that the people on the opposite side, they are not his enemies, they are playing the role of his enemies. By the circumstances and situations so created, the Bhishma, his beloved, is playing his enemy. Dronacharya, his beloved, is playing his enemy, Krupacharya. So he bowed down to everybody. Offer your reverence, your love to your enemy. Then, if need be, kill them. He killed them. That killing will give moksha to you also and to them also. First, you love them, revere them, and then kill them if required. It is like surgeon operating upon you. Then the knife in your hands become the knife in the hands of the surgeon, not in the hands of a butcher or a dacoit. Same knife. Attitude difference. No Sai devotee. For that matter, any devotee of any lord or any nation, Deshabhakta, if this is the only country, I believe, which worships the nation as mother. Swami told once that if you go to a mother and tell her, Mother, we have a lot of reverence for you. You are just superb, so beautiful, so talented, so resourceful, so compassionate, so graceful. But these children are your rascals. She will tell, get lost. It is like praising the singer that you are singing is that you are such a great person, but your singing is not so good. It is horrible. Telling a painter that you are a great person, sir, but your painting, your art is unacceptable, horrible. They will say, get lost. Swami says, I am the creator. When you despise, hate my creation, find fault with my creation, how can I be happy with you? I am mother of all. How can Bharata Mata be happy with any Desh Bhakta if you hate any of her children? Love them, let the law take its own course. If you need to kill them, but don't hate them. Be courageous. Face the situation fearlessly, and soon there will be no situation to face. That fearlessness comes from Atmagyana, from awareness. Then all these, what to say, pitchy thoughts in Swami's language of revenge and hatred, they will not cross. They are poisonous thoughts. Why to keep the poisonous thoughts in your heart, in your mind, and make your heart, your mind a poisonous place? It is utter foolishness. Love him in all. Accept him in all. See him in all. If you have to fight it, fight him. Feel that you are fighting your Lord. Have that attitude, that reverence, that love. Then fight it out. Even Parshurama, he fought with his guru. I think Bhishma Pitama fought with Parshurama, something. Those days, that was the nobility. They had to fight. Yes, Bhishma. Parshurama told him, you come and fight with me. He will first bow down with full reverence, with full regards and love, and then fight him out. That is like a soldier. That is like child of God. प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम 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 श्री राम राम राम. Prema mudita manasi. First fill your heart with love, and then if you chant the name of Rama, it will have that power of Rama. Love is the only power. Love is the only way. There is no other power. There is no other way. Jai Sai Ram.